Was I wrong to kick my sister and my mother out of my house? I always believed I was an orphan. My life was bitter, but I fought to survive. When I met my husband, I had just started college. He was one of the donors to the orphanage where I grew up, and it was thanks to him that I was able to stay there as long as I did. Because of his support, I got a great education and eventually became the director of my own company. Despite the age gap between us, I fell in love with him. He took such good care of me and didn't want me to get pregnant while I was still in school. I agreed to marry him, and I was the happiest woman alive. Still, I felt an emptiness inside. I told him about my need to find out whether I had a family or not. I needed to know where I came from. He helped me find my mother, who was living in a remote village far from the city. I reconciled with her. She explained that her financial situation was so bad, she couldn't even feed me once a day. She had no choice but to abandon me at the orphanage, hoping I'd have a better future. She was overjoyed to see how far I'd come and praised the heavens for answering her prayers. I was so happy to find her again. She had another daughter, my younger sister, but was still single and struggling financially. She begged me to take in my sister and help her go back to school. My sister had dropped out because of our mother's money troubles, and they were just barely surviving day by day. Overjoyed to have found my mother, I couldn't bring myself to leave her behind. I offered to bring both of them to live with me in the city. My husband didn't object, but he did say we should find them their own place once they were settled. That's when my descent into hell began, though I didn't realize it at first. Within a few weeks, my sister got way too comfortable and started walking around the house in skimpy clothes. I asked her several times to stop, especially when my husband was home, but she wouldn't listen. When I brought it up with my mother, she brushed it off, saying it was just a phase and that I should let her be. But I wasn't naive. I could see my sister was clearly trying to get my husband's attention. So I suggested she move into the dorms at her high school. My mother called me an ungrateful daughter and cried all day, cursing me for trying to separate her from her beloved daughter. After a few weeks, I started dreading coming home. My husband would come home very late or leave for business trips every other day. The atmosphere had become so toxic that I finally told him it was time for my mom and sister to find their own apartment. He told me to handle it myself. I had hoped he'd support me because I didn't have the strength to confront my mom alone. But he did nothing to help. When I finally tried to kick them out, they told me only my husband had the right to make them leave. With everything turning so toxic, I ended up calling the police to have them removed. But to my shock, my husband called me a terrible daughter. He said my mother had been right to abandon me, that I was a bad seed. He even said he now understood why she chose to keep my sister with her, despite her poverty. That day, I watched in disbelief as my husband walked out of the house with my mother and sister crying in his arms. I felt like I was in a nightmare, or some twisted alternate reality. My entire world collapsed. Was I wrong for trying to find my mother? My sister is now my husband's mistress, and he's asking for a divorce. What should I do?